Waweka kura zote pamoja, huyu Kasongo akuwe one term.
Kama ni mimi, hao wengine wote wataniunga mkono.
Do you trust your government? Do you trust them to always do what is right for you? And do you think they make decisions that are in your best interest? I ask this because from what we're seeing lately, I'm not sure how to answer that question myself. From Maisha number to affordable housing, social health insurance fund, even to the new university funding model. Adani taking over big deals in energy and the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Even with printing our own money in a faraway land. Remember the initial secrecy surrounding the identity of the German firm that had been awarded the tender? Let's even throw in the finance bills of 2023 and 2024. What do they all have in common? Public mistrust, doubt from the people of Kenya. Why? Well, look at how they're implemented. Most are rushed. The procurement processes towards their implementation are almost always initially shrouded in secrecy. The most common words you hear these days are restricted tendering, classified tendering, or direct procurement. And we're always given some reason for this lack of openness. Avoiding corruption, or like in the case of the money printing tender, we were told that it was classified procurement due to a looming stockout of currency notes. And these responses come after relentless questioning from the people. The information is hardly provided voluntarily by the government. In fact, government officials hardly take the time to speak to us, to involve us in these grand plans they have for us and our loved ones. Instead, they begin with denials, rebuttals, and then when they finally, eventually admit it, they're on the defensive. Worse still, they're condescending. They know better than we do. We don't understand the economy. They do. And any questions are met with such resistance and offensive responses. Take, for instance, the Adani deal. Kenyans did not hear about this proposal from their own government. It took the relentless Nelson Amenya on the X platform to reveal that there was even such a deal in the offing. Response from government? Deny, deny, deny. Then it was followed by an attempt to silence him and anyone else who dared to speak of it. Finally, acceptance that such a deal was actually in existence. Thereafter, it was what we now term as mchezo wa tauni. Inability to explain key aspects of the deal. How was it procured? How much are we paying for it? How long will they run our airports? The back and forth. At some point, you've seen the posts by even the president's advisor, basically shutting down anyone questioning him and the government he works for and all of these deals. The admittance from him and others that high-level corruption actually exists, including its justification. And haven't we seen the same with such a key plank as the national health insurance? Government officials who are implementing this plan can barely give satisfactory answers to a very simple question. Why? Why SHIF and not NHIF? Why the hefty amounts? Why register again? Why certain companies have been procured for the digital system? What is their mandate? I could go into the questions of the other projects like the affordable housing one and its levy and how that came to be. But I know you know because these are the questions that you have been asking. And the courts have then validated Kenyans' doubts and fears. The three words, unconstitutional, null and void, have rung loud in the last 2 years. Finance Act 2023, the appointment of CASs, SHIF laws, and the recent Privatization Act, all struck out for lack of public participation. So why aren't they involving us in these projects that are supposed to be paid for by us, through our taxes, and to supposedly benefit us? Why the secrecy? Why the disdain from government officials when we ask questions? You see, it is this behavior of government officials that has continuously eroded trust in our government and the doubt that they have our best interests in mind when implementing these big projects worth billions of shillings. Folks, if you ask me, our biggest problem in this country is that we have a huge trust deficit. And who can blame us? They say one thing and do another. They say one thing and flip-flop tomorrow. They try to shut us down when we ask questions. In such an instance, there can be only one assumption to make. You know what? Let's stop pretending. Let's stop pretending that the Constitution matters, that the law applies to everyone, that institutions still function. Let's just admit it. We're not a nation governed by the rule of law. We're governed by vibes and the whims of those in power, because that's the only way to explain it. I mean, you have a Deputy Inspector General of Police, a man entrusted with enforcing the law, who ignores not one but several court sermons. No consequences. He just doesn't show up. And why should he? I mean, apparently court orders are optional now. It's like choosing between tea or coffee. Nice if you can afford it, totally fine if you can skip it. And then there are senior members of the executive, some of whom are even scholars of law, making public pronouncements that exist in some alternate legal universe, where facts are flexible and accountability is for the weak. These are the same people who remind us often to respect the rule of law. Of course, that only applies to you, not to them. Meanwhile, in the streets, police continue to meet protest with bullets. Not restraint, not dialogue, not procedure. Bullets. Because apparently it's easier to kill a citizen than to arrest them, present them in court, and let due process take its course. Who has time for that anyway? And the real kicker? When someone's loved one is abducted or disappears, they, the grieving, the scared, the desperate, are told to follow due process. They're told to file reports, habeas corpus applications in court, and they're even told to be patient. Wait. Wait for what? Justice? That seems to be on annual leave in this country. Now, in an even more impressive display of state gymnastics, we have lawmakers proposing amendments to the law to make protests even harder to hold. Because, of course, it's the protesters who are the problem, not the police who shoot at them, not the state that ignores their demands. No, the real threat in this country is the citizen exercising a constitutional right. So let's shift the burden, shall we? Let's not hold to account the security agencies, to whom taxpayers pay billions to keep us safe, even during protests. No, let's put that responsibility on the protesters instead. Blame the people for being shot at. Criminalize anger. Regulate outrage. This in the same country where authorities regularly claim the power to ban protests, even though the law gives them no such authority. None. Protesters are only required to inform the police, not to seek their permission. But who cares about the law, really? So maybe it's time we stop pretending. Maybe we just declare it officially. The rule of law has been suspended until further notice. You know, like in The Purge? I don't know if you've watched that lovely little dystopian film where for 12 hours all laws are suspended and people are free to do whatever they want. No arrests, no accountability, no consequences. Sounds familiar? Perhaps we could even adopt it as a national policy. Every year, let's pick a few days where everyone is free to settle scores. You wronged me, I shoot you. You stole from the public, loot back. Don't worry about the courts or the Constitution. We've already shown we don't take them seriously anyway. Because what is the Constitution really, if not a beautifully bound book we like to quote, but never follow? a document we only reference when it suits us. Just throw it all away. Every principle, every safeguard, every institution, each man and his armed convoy for himself. Either that, or we could get serious, and we could stop playing these dangerous games with our institutions. We could hold everyone to account, from the junior constable to the senior-most political official. We could demand that if justice applies to one, it applies to all, equally, without exception. But you see, that would take courage.